Hello everybody, thank you so much for watching Where with Sim again. Hope you guys are all having a great day so far. And in today's video, we're going to be going over the storm system that's going to be impacting the east coast of the United States. And we even got a bunch of other storms coming off the Pacific, coming off the coast of California. That's going to be bringing a ton of impacts to those areas in California, and even going to be impacting like the Ohio Valley and even a few other areas. So we're definitely going to have to watch a lot of these storms extremely closely. But first of all, we're going to start off with today, where we do have a slight risk for a few severe thunderstorms heading from the Florida Keys all the way up into Jacksonville. So if you live in between those areas, make sure to be aware. This also does include Orlando and even Miami, so definitely be aware of some severe weather if you do live in between those areas. Day 2 outlook wasn't right, so that's why I did pull up the Storm Prediction Center page, and as you guys can probably see, we actually do have a slight risk for severe weather for tomorrow as well, pretty much off the coast of North Carolina, getting into northeast South Carolina. So I would definitely really watch for some spin up tornadoes across these areas, but even from Virginia Beach all the way down into the Florida Keys, I would also watch for some damaging winds and even some tornadoes. And now you guys can probably see tornadoes is something to be aware about, and as you guys can probably see, it does include Miami, even includes Wilmington and Charleston. So if you do live around, in between, or even near those areas, make sure to be aware of a few tornadoes, and that does include off the coast of South Carolina, getting into North Carolina, but even down here in pretty much the southern part of Florida, I would also be aware of a possible tornado. So we're definitely going to have to watch closely. But the wind threat, we do have a wind threat for pretty much the entire marginal risk, and as well as the slight risk. Hail threat, no hail threat at all. So I would definitely still watch these areas very closely. But if we do look at the weather prediction center outlook starting on day 1, which is today, we actually do have a threat for flash flooding down here in southern Florida. This is from Saturday into Sunday, and as you guys can probably see, pretty much includes the entire state of Florida, just doesn't include the western part of the panhandle. But even up here into southern Georgia, it's also included as well. So I would definitely watch for some significant flooding today, especially if you live in places like Orlando, Miami, Fort Lauderdale, or even up here towards Savannah and even Panama City. So I would definitely watch for some flash flooding. Now on day 2, we actually do have a threat for flash flooding across places like the East Coast, heading from central South Carolina all the way up into New Jersey. I would also watch for some significant flooding as well, especially if you live in like Virginia Beach, Wilmington, North Carolina, all the way up into Dover, Delaware. So I would definitely watch those areas extremely closely. But even Baltimore also included in this slight risk for flash flooding as well. So I would definitely watch for some pretty good rainfall, and I would also even watch for coastal flooding as well, especially due to those high winds that are going to be coming on shore. Now, if we look at the Climate Prediction Center outlook, as you guys can probably see, for the 6 to 10 day outlook, the entire United States is pretty much included, anywhere from near normal to well above average. Even a really good chance pretty much for up here in places like Iowa and even southern Minnesota. And if you guys look at that, that's pretty much a 90 to 100% chance of above normal temperatures, which is significant, especially for this time of year. We don't usually see well above average temperatures this time of year, but if you do live in places like Minnesota and Iowa, I would definitely be aware of that. And now if we look at the 8 to 14 day outlook, we actually are still seeing above average for a pretty good portion of the United States. The chance for above average does die down in Minnesota and even Iowa, but it's still a really good chance, anywhere from an 80 to 90% chance across like Minnesota and even the Dakotas. Now, if we look at the precipitation outlook, anywhere from Southern California into the western half of Texas, I would definitely watch for some significant above average precipitation across these areas, even including all of New Mexico and even all of Arizona. But even north of that, in places like Nevada, southern Utah, even southern Colorado, all of Kansas, even Oklahoma, even eastern and western Arkansas, I would definitely watch for some well above average precipitation. But this green color, at least the second best chance for above average precipitation, does head as far east as Illinois. So if you live as far east as Illinois, I would definitely watch very closely for some significant flash flooding or even some above average precipitation. I don't know if we'll see flooding, but we will definitely see above average precipitation, and that will mainly be for these areas down here like I was talking about. Now, if we do look at the radar, we're going to take this back, and as you guys can probably see, we start off with a rain event coming today, and this is going to be for later tonight. And as you guys can probably see, this will be for tonight, to be honest. And as you guys can probably see, it even continues into a little bit of tomorrow, it looks like. But even that storm that's going to be coming and impacting these areas today will definitely be bringing a really good chance for tornadoes. And I heard this is going to be tonight is when we will see the best chance for spin-up tornadoes. So if you are going to be asleep by, let's say, 5 a.m. Eastern Time, so if you'll be asleep by 5 a.m. Eastern Time, just make sure you set your alarm across Florida. But even like 8 a.m. or 8 p.m. or even 6 p.m. Eastern Time, I would also make sure you set your alarm too as well. So make sure you are setting your weather alarm. So I probably should have said make sure you set your weather alarm. So tell it whenever there's a tornado warning, go off. So I probably should have said that instead of just saying set an alarm. So yeah, make sure to set your weather alarm if you do have one for tornadoes. This will definitely be something to be aware about. But even this heads pretty much up the coast of the eastern United States, and then it heads up and brings some snowfall to places like New England and even up here into Maine. But if we do go back out west, we actually are seeing some storms going off the coast of California that will be bringing a lot of rain and even snowfall. Some of them look like they may even strengthen as they move towards the Ohio Valley, bringing maybe a threat for some storms later on. But as we also continue to take that far, we'll see many more storms coming off the coast of California that will be bringing things like significant snowfall and even lots of precipitation, including heavy rainfall. Now, as we do take a look at the total precipitation, we actually are seeing a lot for California, and it sounds like we could even see up to 3 inches in some areas. But even out here on the East Coast, we're seeing pretty much anywhere from 1 all the way up to 6 inches of rain, especially across Carolina or South Carolina. Pretty much both of the Carolinas could be seen as high as 4 or 3 inches of rain. It really depends, but it also is something to watch for too as well. But even Indiana, Ohio, and even Illinois seeing beneficial amounts of rain too as well. So we're gonna have to be aware of flash flooding today and even tomorrow as we do head off up the coast. So yeah. Now, as we do take a look at the total snowfall, not really very active, but places like the California mountains, Cascade Mountains, all the way towards the Ohio Valley and even into New England, also seeing some pretty good amounts. Even up here in Minnesota, also seeing some good amounts. So not as active as we usually see, but it's still something to be aware about and even keep your eye on. Now, we're going to go ahead and look at the surface base cape with the NAM model, and as you guys can probably see, the cape will be pretty high today, and it looks like it will really start to strengthen as it moves through Florida. So Florida will definitely be seeing over 1,000 joules per kilogram, which is a ton, enough to definitely cause significant severe weather. So that's why you definitely have to set your tornado alarm if you haven't already. And then even off the coast of Florida, Florida, we're seeing over 2,000 joules per kilogram, and then really getting up pretty much over 3,000 joules per kilogram. Oh my goodness, that's a lot of Cape. 3,000 joules per kilogram is a lot. That will definitely cause some significant water spouts across these areas. Oh my goodness. So yeah, Yamamoto is definitely being a lot more, kind of like a lot more active with the Cape across Florida, and even shows it being a lot more like widespread as well too as well. But with the GFS model, I already looked at that. It didn't even show that much Cape going through Florida, guys. I mean, whether we see very high Cape or whether we don't, I think we will see like very low Cape with in these areas. I just don't think it's gonna be something we really have to be aware about, because I don't think the Cape is gonna be extremely high. But it's still something to watch extremely closely, and that's why I'm saying you gotta make sure you set your weather alarm, because we could definitely be talking significant severe weather, possibly, and maybe even an upgrade to an enhanced risk. It depends. But if we look at our temperatures, we will continue to see temperatures in places like the 50s and even some 60s as well. But then we will start to see a cool down come in, bringing temperatures as low as the lower 20s. But that will head out pretty fast, and it will still continue for pretty much the next few days. But then we will start to see a warm up in our temperatures, bringing some 40s and even some 50s again. That will definitely help a lot, especially when being outdoors. And we will just continue to see warms up in the 50s, and even some areas could even get as high as 60. It looks like, wow, almost 60 degrees. That's pretty warm, to be honest. 60 degrees. Don't worry about that, guys. That's not really your business. But yeah. But as we continue to take that forward, we will definitely be seeing more in the way of cool downs as we keep heading later. As you guys can probably see, our temperatures will just continue to get lower. But as you guys can probably also see, very cold temperatures. But thank you guys very much for watching. Hope you guys did enjoy this video. I also do hope you guys will subscribe and even like my videos. Even though I do kind of make some mistakes throughout my videos, I would still like you guys to subscribe. And as you guys can probably see right below my camera, there is an image saying to like and subscribe as well. So if you guys will please follow that image and like and subscribe my videos, that would be great, and I would also really appreciate it. But if you guys would please do that, that would be amazing. And thank you guys very much for watching, and I will do one tomorrow.